Now, sadly, it is impossible to re-trigger a workflow when it has already run. What we can do happily, though, is construct a different workflow that's set up in such a way to achieve the same results as if we were telling our workflow to retrigger. Now, to put that in plain English, let's imagine we have this form here, interview time slots, and let's pretend that 6,000 students have submitted a response, and for whatever reason, this particular workflow, I want to run it again for a particular group of those students who have already filled in this form. How can we make this work? Well, the obvious answer would be to clone the workflow, sorry, but the problem here is the way the workflow is set up. It's saying as soon as somebody new completes the form, then send them this email. And instead, we want to target people who have already completed the form. So how do we achieve this? We can get started by adding a new workflow and setting whatever conditions we want. In this example, if we wanted everyone who had completed the form to be targeted, we could leave the conditions blank, or we could add any conditions we wanted to hit the exact cohort that we were interested in. So, for example, if we wanted to resend this email to anyone who had the undergraduate level of study, they would be targeted by this. You would then go ahead and set up your your action exactly as you want. So which message do you want to send? Which SMS? What other workflow action would you like to trigger? Now, the crucial bit is instead of telling Gecko immediately when a new submission comes in, if the level of study is this, then send this email, we want to click the word immediately and tell Gecko to trigger after a date. Now, I'm recording this on January 23rd, so the important thing is to pick a time in the future. So I'm recording this it's coming up to 4 p.m., so I'm going to choose maybe 4:15, for example. Now, the importance of this is we're telling Gecko to read this in plain English now. If the very first workflow was as soon as anybody who submits the form, as soon as they do that, immediately send them an email. By changing this to after a date, we're saying after this date, look at everyone who has filled in this particular form, and if anyone who's already completed this form has a level of study of undergraduate, then send this email. If I hit save now and we waited until this time, then Gecko would do just that, look at all of the previous responses, and if they had this particular answer, then we would send the email, thereby re-triggering things. On the condition, just as a note, it is worth pointing out that after 4:15, what would happen here is that this would become an immediately workflow, so any new people who completed the form would receive this email too. So if you don't want that to happen, if you just want to call out a particular segment or cohort of people who have previously completed the form, then make sure to set an end date that corresponds to the original send date. So we're making sure that we're just targeting this group and then nobody else in the future.